we discovered a massive need for women to find an identity surrounding being a woman and an entrepreneur. I'm Marley.
And I'm Rachel. Women like us, women who are the primary earners in our families,
are searching for identity, community, visibility, permission.
A place to be heard and supported.
We are leading with our vulnerability to allow others to feel safe.
We are strong
and feminine. We are bread-winning women.
Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Breadwinning Women TV.
Woo-hoo.
We are so excited to be here. Marley, it's good to see you.
Hi, as if I don't see you or talk to you every day.
Okay, we talk every single day, pretty much. Yeah, without exception, I would say.
Yeah, if there's a day that I don't talk to you, I'm like, hello, are you okay? What's going on? Like, I'll call Paul, I'll call your sister, call your mom, be like, where is she? What's wrong? That's never happened before.
Okay, it might have happened a few times, but we really do talk every
day.
I love it. Well, yesterday, I'm so thankful to everybody for giving us a pass yesterday. Yesterday was 4th of July. I don't know if anyone else totally forgot that it was the 4th of July. I've actually heard that from a lot of people, that everyone rescheduled calls. Did the US forget to announce that it was the 4th of July?
Well, I feel like because we're entrepreneurs and with just the scale of our businesses, we forget about holidays. I mean, the big ones like Christmas, everyone shuts down around that time. But when it comes to other holidays or statutory long weekends or whatever, it's just oh yeah, I forgot what's the difference? The difference for me between a weekend and a weekday is that my clients aren't working. So I just get to work uninterrupted on the weekends.
That is so true. I still work on the weekends a little bit, but I've definitely lightened up now that my business has been established for a few years. I just have started to feel like the everything release a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm. And especially with new baby. And I'm so proud of you for that, because even up until baby came, you were doing still some late nights and a little bit of all-nighters. So now that baby's here and you really do have that work-life balance. That's what we want everyone to have. It's not about work your face off till your eyes bleed. It's have the balance, because this is why you created the business, right?
Oh, absolutely. That freedom is seriously everything. So we're talking about something today that is not normally sexy, but can it be sexy? I don't know.
I think education is so sexy. Look at these books behind me on the bookshelf. If you can see that, I think that if someone comes into a conversation, or even, when I talk about education, I want to clarify too, because I do have different beliefs that actually surprised me. That when I was growing up, it was very much academics are important. Get your high school diploma, which I do agree with. I think the high school diploma, those are the foundations, the basics. But when it comes to post-secondary, get your degree, go get your master's. Is that necessary? Right now, education is shifting, careers are shifting. There are going to be jobs that my children will apply for that don't even exist today. So does the post-secondary education route still match where society, where culture is shifting?
It's so crazy, isn't it? It definitely looks different, in my opinion. Where everything is at today is totally different. I know for me, education became less formal and became more about the end result, which is interesting.
There's so much online information, like YouTube. You can learn anything on there for free. There are online courses where I honestly can get more out of that than paying tuition at a university.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so interesting because education has changed. And this is one of the biggest changes I've seen, is that the people who went to school for business or for marketing, sometimes it almost feels like they can't think outside of the box the same way that I'm able to, because I don't know the rules in order to break them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know the rules of social media and digital marketing, but I don't have that technical background of a business education or marketing. And in some ways, I'm actually kind of grateful for that. What do you think?
Well, it's kind of funny that I'm also my team is building, and I have new members of my team, social media managers, videographers, video editors, and a new integrator assistant that I'm working with. And they have all had different upbringings with education and post-secondary education. And I found that when they came into the business, of course, we all learn from each other, and we're all happy to collaborate with our backgrounds and experiences. And it's funny how coming into my business, there's been a bit of breaking the mold, that the things that they learned in their post-secondary education, I'm like, I want to take a grain of salt from what I can learn from them, but it's not actually how the online world works. It may work well for like a brick and mortar kind of marketing. It may work well for like local marketing agencies, but for what you and I personally do, what they have learned in school isn't fitting that mold. And how long is that mold going to even last?
Absolutely. One of the things so I went to school for a couple of years. I went for business and music, AKA not really anything. I didn't take college very seriously, to be honest. For me, it was a very expensive socializing experience for 2 years. Yeah. And the craziest thing was, even though there were some classes I attended, everything felt very hypothetical. And so what we learned in college for business and marketing, the thing about it is I personally found that it had nothing to do, at least with the college I went to, it had nothing to do with what the real world experience is of running a business or of getting creative with marketing. I know for me, the second that I break outside of the mold of you have to follow these rules, it's super helpful for me, because then I don't have that fear of doing something wrong. Anyone experience that? If you've experienced that, comment on this below and let us know. If you're listening to the podcast, just mentally type yes in your head. The reality,
reach out to us on Instagram.
I love it. So the interesting thing, though, was that when I'm not afraid of breaking the rules because I don't necessarily know the rules of marketing, it allows me to find inspiration in different places. That's what's worked really well for me, and identifying what marketing is working based on what I'm seeing on social media.
Absolutely. And I love how you worded that about breaking the rules, because you don't know what the rules are. And that's really, how do you go into any business? If you're a marketing agency, if you are serving online industries, businesses, and you think that there's this like cookie cutter way of marketing for them, or this is how you should run your business based on what you learned in a university, I can tell you that won't last long. And where will your business be in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years if you just keep following that mold while everyone else is doing what they're learning intuitively, what people are learning online through YouTube, through online trainings, through even Facebook groups? Like, there is so much to learn just by being part of these communities that the the universities locally are not teaching, because I feel like they're just in their own space, and I feel like there's some catching up that they need to do. Or is this even going to continue?
Well, one of the best examples, and if you're watching this and you've invested into online courses before, think about how often online courses have to update modules and update entire courses, because things change so fast in this era. It's such a fast pace of change in order to stay relevant. When you go to university, they have textbooks and entire curriculums that are planned out for years in advance. But how are you supposed to be able to keep up with the changing times if, for example, you have a module on Facebook, and yet Facebook is totally different a year or even a couple months from the time that you release the book? I mean, that's like crazy. So when it comes to investing into your education, this is a huge part of the process of growth in business and in marketing, a huge part of being a breadwinning woman. What do you look for, Marley, when you think about courses or mentors to sign up for?
Ooh, well, I love that, because even just like adding on to what you said about, look how often social media changes. The algorithms are changing like every day. There's no way that universities, who have to take so long to build those curriculums, are going to be able to change the day of. Like, us being part of social media and Facebook groups, we get notified the day it happens. So what I look for when I'm finding a mentor or a course to invest in or follow is I'm looking at how on top of those trends are they? Are they walking the walk? Are they actually doing what they teach? Are they, because I mean, Rachel, for you, you're a great example of someone, because there can be people that teach social media but don't actually apply it, that they have an agency that they teach it, but they don't know what it's like to actually have an agency and work with clients, and you're in the mud with it every single day. And so same with, like, if I'm going to look for a mentor, and I'll say, like, you and I work with Russell Brunson, Alex Sharfin. These are people that we look up to, and we can watch their day-to-day lives of how they market their business, how they manage their team, and what their daily life looks like, because they're also very visible on social media. And that's a benefit that we have when we're looking at mentors, is we can see a little bit of the personal side, not just like the ABCD of what their curriculum looks like, we get to see who they are as people and know if they're going to resonate with us and our values and our beliefs. Because there's lots of influencers and thought leaders out there that we can even just see on social media. And maybe I don't like a way that he speaks or how she said that, or I don't align with that belief, but I'm going to look for the people that when they speak, it feels like, how did you know that? It's like they answered, like they knew, they were in my brain. Like those are the kind of people that I want to work with because it resonates with who I am and what I need.
Absolutely. I agree with everything that you said. The biggest thing is making sure, like you said, that people are doing what they're saying they're doing and doing what they're teaching. A great example of this is Alex Sharfin on another aspect of his business. Remember when we first heard about the billionaire code? And I was like, the billionaire code, that's not just millionaire, that's billions with a B. So I was like, I wonder what interactions he's had with billionaires to make him qualified. And if you know Alex Sharfin, the craziest, coolest thing in the world is that his story is actually very enriched with interactions with billionaires. He actually studied them and learned what it was that made them successful and how they got from one stage to the next. And if you know his story, he shared it at Funnel Hacking Live 2018. Yeah, 2018. I'm like, which year are we in? He actually was very, very, very successful in his business for a long time. And so if you hear that story, it's like, wow, that makes so much sense. I agree 100% with the points that you brought up, Marley. The other thing that I look for when it comes to a mentor or a course is I don't just want to be sold on the dream. This is a huge part of how we choose our online education. This is how I choose my online education. If someone's just promising the end result, and it's just a dream versus something that I can measure or tangibly see, or something that I can look back and say, like, check, I did that, awesome, we've made progress, that's really difficult to quantify. So if someone says, if you join my course, you too can live on a yacht, I'm like, are you just going to teach me how to live on a yacht? Like, what are you teaching me that's going to get me there? So be careful when you choose your courses to make sure that it's not just that end result, that dream that they're promising, but that instead it's actually something that has the steps that give you the progress that you're looking for in order to get that end result.
There's a lot of people out there that can teach, or that can show the dream, like you just said, but in reality, is their life actually like that? So someone was talking to me recently about like Instagram influencers, that they get these amazing shots of like, hey, I'm on this beautiful yacht and look at this beautiful breakfast and overlooking the ocean, but actually they're sleeping in like a hostel or sleeping in the back of a boat or something. Like, it's not as glamorous as it seems. So selling that dream, sure, when you put in the hard work, you can create whatever dream it is that you want. But yeah, I want to know that I'm investing in someone that has actually created it for themselves.
Absolutely. Another thing that I look for as well, and I think this is really important when you're choosing mentors, and obviously a mentor can either be like a coach or a mentor that you're hiring, or it can just be the person who created the course that you're going to invest into. I'm a big fan of seeing not just the highlight reels. I want to know that my mentor is being honest with me about the things that aren't going right, about the things that they've learned, the tough lessons, the not glamorous days. Highlight reels are fun and they're great and they're inspiring. But if someone is only showing the good in their life, there's a very good chance that there's a lot that they're not showing. I'm a huge fan of seeing the other side of the coin and knowing, okay, cool, I'm not just being sold the dream, I'm also being shown the not glamorous part of this business or this course or this industry.
And it sets you up for the reality of what this actually feels like. Rachel and I were just talking about this before we hit record on this, that we were talking about like how we want to show the vulnerable sides of things so that not only do you actually see what's real, because it's not all glamorous and it's not all just like money and vacations. Like, it's absolutely not. There's going to be times along the way where you feel lost, you feel like you're drowning, your husband is resentful with you for working too much, or you're resentful with him for not working enough, or just the common things that can come up in life that if all you're seeing is the glamour and you have the daily life things that come up, it might make you feel like something's wrong or that you're alone. And absolutely you're not. There are things that will come up every single day that we want to show you, those vulnerable sides, to show you that you're still going to have real life happen. but you have a community support to support you all along the way. And Alex Sharfin was a great example too, when he actually told his story about how he lost everything. They had invested in a lot of houses. There was the I don't know if I'm going to get all the facts correct about this, but there was the crisis and the foreclosures. And from that, and see, like, the story he told was so heartbreaking. He had to take his wife's engagement ring off of her finger and sell it to be able to get everything, or to get as much as they could. But then within, and I don't know the exact timeline, within a certain amount of time, they were liquid millionaires, and they were being recognized by the government or by these officials for having saved the housing crisis by like 7 years, and putting all these families, giving them back their houses and peace of mind. And again, I don't know all the details of it, but his story is incredible to see someone who goes from being on top and then losing everything and then working their way back up, and showing their story and the vulnerability along the way, because life happens. And as much as we can have those glamorous moments, it's still life.
Absolutely. You know, another thing that I think about whenever someone is presented to me as an option for mentorship or courses is how to read between the lines. This is a huge thing that you have to learn. It's a skill you learn in business, but it's really helpful when you're deciding what to invest into. And for me, what that looked like was when I started to see testimonials of courses or mentorship programs, I started reading between the lines so I could see what's being said versus what else is there. So a good example of this is if someone is talking about a course and all they can say is how amazing it is, and they don't share like a specific something that they learned, a strategy, a technique, a tactic that helped them to support their business, or they're not able to say my list grew from this to this, or I was able to do this.
Tangible numbers.
Yes, absolutely. Because one of the things that I've discovered is that it's very easy when you take a course or go to an event or whatever it is to get that high feeling and say, oh, it was amazing. But then it's like, okay, but what is amazing about it? Like, what was it that you took away? What are you going to implement? What action steps did you take while you were there? Those are the types of things that I look for when it comes to courses and mentors. Like, what are the actual results that people are getting versus just, it feels amazing. It's awesome. You know, if I want feels amazing, I'm going to go get a massage. If I want results, I'm going to go for a course.
Absolutely. What are the numbers? What can you actually measure? How much did it improve your life by how many followers or subscribers or money, or how much you gained as a result of that? Like, what can you actually measure that shows the results? Because like you're saying, emotion isn't, I mean, that can only last so long.
It's really funny because we didn't mean for this to go there, but it's the same thing in friendship and relationship. Like if you go on a date and you're on the date and you leave the date and you're just like, oh, they're so amazing. They're so amazing. And someone comes at you and says, yeah, but what's amazing about them? And you're like, I don't know. It's just amazing. It's like, well, yes and no. You also have to know, what are those traits? What are those things that I saw in that person that are amazing? Like, what made me feel that way? And if you can't identify it, it might just maybe not be the best date in the world, but you were caught up in the emotion of the date.
Or the hormones.
Yeah, that's that's kind of what I meant to say, but I wasn't going to say it.
I can mean that.
Yes. So I go through that same process though with every course and mentor that I look for. I'm like, okay, what are the actual results? It's great that we can say it's amazing, but what does the blueprint look like? What is the path? What are the steps? What are the tangible results that people are getting? And then as you're going through the course, look for those things. You know, when they ask you for a video testimonial, make sure that you've actually gotten tangible results, whether it's from the inspiration that you've gotten in your mindset, whether you have learned specific skills that ultimately lead into success in your business. Those are the things that you want to evaluate. And then you want to say, okay, is this worthy of a video testimonial that's more than just, it was awesome. It was amazing. It was great. Well, that's nice and all, but can you implement it and actually see results?
Amen.
Yes. What else do we look for? I think that's about it. Those are the biggest things I look at.
That's a big thing. Like knowing what their track record is. Do they walk the walk? What are the results that other people have achieved from it? And do they resonate with you? Does their lifestyle and their values match yours?
Absolutely. All of this to say, we asked the question, can education be sexy? And now the word sexy is kind of a controversial word. Personally, to me, the word sexy is attractive and empowered. So strong and empowered, it can be physical. It can be just really attractive in general. Can education be sexy? Personally, I think education is necessary, but it is absolutely a sexy part of our lives. The ability to arm ourselves with knowledge and be able to know that you can go into conversations feeling like an expert, feeling like someone who can actually talk the talk and walk the walk. All right. I love it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we feel about education, mentorship, and courses. Anything else you want to add, Marley?
I want to know, who are some of the influencers or thought leaders or educators, online course creators that you follow? Comment below, or if you're listening to the podcast, you can, first of all, give us a review. We'd really appreciate that. Or reach out to us on Instagram, because we'd love to hear, who do you follow? Who do you learn from? And how has that investment paid off for you in your life, in your business, in your relationships?
I love it so much. All right. So next week, we will get you guys with another episode of Breadwinning Women TV, but not just that, and Breadwinning Women, the podcast, but not just that, we're going to be sharing some really cool stories. For example, there's a story coming up that I was thinking about this week, and I'm very excited. It's going to take me a moment to share it, but keep your eyes open on our Instagram and our Facebook feed, because it's going to be a really emotional story. And it's one that might relate to you if you are a breadwinning woman or someone who wants to become a breadwinning woman.
I can't wait for you guys to see this. And there's a lot in the vault, in the Breadwinning Women vault, that is going to be coming to the surface. We can't wait to be able to show you everything that we have planned and to keep cultivating and building this community, because you guys aren't alone. We talked about this, about how it can be scary to step into something that's unknown, and that society also, like culture, is now adapting to, oh wait, like the women can be the breadwinners of the family, or how does that work? That just, it's a new era, guys, and we're really excited to support all of you on it.
All right, we'll see you next week on Wednesday, because it's not the 4th of July, on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central. Bye.
Bye.